I have no idea if we're live or not.
We don't know if we're live. Oh, we got this same thing again.
Yep. Let me join here. Video stream is not live yet. Wait, I can't tell if we're live or not. I think we're live, but it's not showing. I can't join. End stream.
We're not sure if we're getting out live or not.
Yeah, there might be a delay or something. Because in a different browser, I say join. Oh, okay. Yep.
Hey.
Okay. I think we're live. We're just delayed from what everybody else sees. Okay.
Oh.
I think we're actually live.
Hallelujah. Okay. I think we're in. We're not sure. We got a wicked delay.
Let me start recording just to be safe.
Okay.
So we'll actually record a video file.
All right, we're recording. We think we're live. We think we're recording.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Whoa, that was a tough one getting in again. Okay. Well, this is W1REX and
Stephen, N1SH. And we got a note from Michael K04ALT that says he can see us. Hopefully he can hear us too. I think there's a little bit of a delay. So
yes.
When you do comments or something, it might take us a minute to get to them because of the delay.
We had that same problem last time with was a fairly significant delay. So you got to bear with us.
I think it's in case we swear they can beep it out.
It could be. Who knows? Okay. We're not sure.
Yeah.
We don't know what the hell we're doing, but okay. But we're going to have a good time doing it.
Yep. Here we are.
Okay. We're set up. I don't know. Can you do maybe pick up your camera and say, I mean, I've got my, I wanted you to see if you could sweep around here and just see.
And we've got
I've got all my tools all lined up around my workspace. I'm ready to build a kit.
Well,
now the problem is, we got to have that simple station accessories at the bottom of this thing. It takes up.
Oh no, we can take that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just there as we do the sort of beginning thing.
Oh, all right. So we're out of that part. Okay.
I can't get rid of this little thing down here. You can't see it. I can see it, but there's a little thing down in the corner that I can't get rid of. But
okay,
it only shows up on the stream.
All right.
Won't show up on our recording.
Okay. We're okay. We're okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. So so today, what I tried to do this particular set of build-a-thons was start with some simple accessories for a station, and then tomorrow, if someone was participating in both, they'd be building a transceiver that connects up to all this stuff, and now you have a complete station. All you need to do is add a battery and a set of headphones. I mean, we're even including the antenna wire. Here's your antenna right there. QRP doesn't take much for an antenna, so we're going to set that aside. So in this case, we've got a nice board. If you notice there's no traces on the front side. It's just basically controls and silkscreen, and everything is happening on the back. There are no holes on the board because this is what they call Manhattan style, where you don't glue the pads down.
Move it down.
Oh,
Yeah,
there we go. Okay, we're in the right zone now. Yeah, this is I called it Limerick style when I designed it many years ago. So what we're going to do is we're going to plop down the parts on the pads, and then add the components that go through the top, the controls, and you've got a station. In this case, it came with 2 bags of parts. This is the generic bag that we had for the station accessories. There was some parts that were very late getting to me, so we added those into a bag. You either got a bag that says A or AT. If you were buying both kits, then the bag AT would have parts for both of those the two kits, Saturday and Sunday. So what I did, how many people can we tell how many people logged on? I mean, I don't know. I'm going, but I have no idea if anybody's caught up to us.
We've got some there.
We've got some.
There's a couple of people there. Carl said he can see us. KX4AC.
Carl, okay. All right. So I'm just gonna set this aside for a minute, but I posted on the updates last night. I did a cheesy video showing people how to prepare for this construction style. And hold on a second. We had we had a, oh, it just slid over. Okay, there we are. So what I did was I took all the parts and pre-bent them so that they stand off the board and they have little feet so we can put them right on the proper pad spacing. And what I showed it in the video in case you didn't see that video last night. A typical resistor you put on a lead bender and you bend it at 0.4 inches and you get that. Okay. And then what you do is you either bend it by hand. Okay, I'll put this back in here. You bend it by hand or by pliers out. And I'm bending it at the bottom of this thing. I'm trying to make them so they all are about the same size. So I just sort of go at the bottom and bend it completely out straight and do the other side. Okay. And now you've got something that looks like a horseshoe with very large flanges, and you cut off the things to make just very small feet.
Somebody mentioned that our presentation keeps sticking. I don't know if anybody else is seeing that problem, but
sticking.
It seems smooth on this end, so it's hard for me to tell.
Yeah, we can't tell.
Yeah.
The other thing I forgot to show people.
I know that there is some glitch when I switch from one camera to another. It looks grainy for a second, but then it clears up. And I think
there's an autofocus on your camera that
yeah.
Does that whenever you switch it on.
One of them was an older camera that I had to resuscitate because.
Okay, I'm going to show you one other trick. I'm gonna bend these at 0.4 inch spacing, just a resistor. This is just a spare resistor. And I forgot I designed this little thing right here. This is a lead, a Manhattan lead bender. And in case I got this resistor at 0.4 inch spacing, so I pick a side. These basically have 4 different heights that you can stand up. So I just lay that in the proper spacing, and then I bend them out like this, that way. And then there's your perfect little horseshoe thing. And I get my cutters and I cut off the feet. Remember to put your finger over the end of that lead so you can pick it up. And there you have your perfectly bent little guy. And I've done that to all these. And of course, label them, sort them, label them, so I don't have to go and search through my stuff. I know exactly where everything is. Is everybody here with us? Can we get any feedback?
Yep, we've got a couple of people that are saying that video is fine on their end. So
okay,
could be just a glitch in that spot or that place.
So I'm going to very carefully set my. I don't want to make it go too far away. I'm going to move some things around here for a second. Sorry for the loud noises. I'm going to move this off to one side without wiggling it.
Hopefully the audio is loud enough for people as well.
Okay.
Please.
All right.
Post a question and answer if you've got some comments about the stream or something. We do have a question: the pros and cons of the Manhattan style versus through-hole.
Pros and cons. Geez, we're not into a lecture here about different building techniques, but I'll tell you, for many, many years, I was very recalcitrant. Is that the proper word? I did not want to get involved with surface mount because I thought, I don't have the right equipment, But at work, I had to actually design something, and it really needed to be surface mount. But I didn't have any equipment, so I said, okay, I'll design it surface mount. And I'll build it by hand. And lo and behold, I discovered it's a lot easier than building through-hole parts. And I'll show you why in a minute. Because you don't have any holes, you do have to worry about pre-bend. If you're doing through-hole, this is in the case of limerick construction, we are using a through-hole part on a surface mount pad, in essence.
Yeah.
So you have to prep your parts to make sure they all come and the feet come down and they hit the pads where you want them to be. That's a little bit on the tough side to do, but if you got a couple of tools, you can pop through the parts very quickly. If you're actually building surface mount, the parts are already sized, so you just lay one down And
Solder it in.
well,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
sometimes you have to have a hold down device
Yeah,
because
yeah,
when you
yeah.
put the iron on it, it wants to scurry around a
Yeah.
little bit. So, you know, and this is the one time I do not have.
Yeah, like your pick there, you could use that.
Yeah, well, I don't have. Usually, I have a wooden kebab skewer.
Yeah.
And so what you can do is you can take your well,
Don't pull it apart, but you
well, this is a this is a dental pick. Unfortunately, it's too damn slippery. That's what I don't like about this. See, it really metal on metal. If this was a wooden skewer, it wouldn't have a problem. Okay, I'm going to do this.
So, Gerald,
Okay.
we're just getting started. We're working on the station accessories. We haven't built anything quite yet.
No, we're just doing setup and waiting for people to catch up with
And
us.
I assume that the QSO today is going to have this available like they do the other stuff after the fact.
Yeah,
So if
it
you
comes
need to
up.
review.
It comes up in about a week, and it's online for a month, and you can view it as many times as you
It
want.
might end up on Rex's YouTube channel at some
Later,
future
but
date.
not this particular video. Okay.
Yeah.
But in the case of a hold down device, there's all kinds of crazy ones. But you know, a pair of nice pliers holding down a pointed object, and you lay down your part and you set that right on the part, and now it doesn't move, and then you can hit your iron, and you can take and hit one side of the surface mount part, and then swing around and do the other side. It's dead nuts easy. So there's no real big deal to it. And while I don't have, I have a couple of kits that I've done that have been surface mount. I don't really sell a lot of it because it's harder to kit.
Yeah.
For me, you know, because all the parts look the same, exactly the same. They have very strange markings, so you got to take every single part that's separate in the kit and bag it by itself.
Yeah.
And I haven't really come up with a good way of doing that yet. so I haven't been big into surface mount. But it is relatively simple. You shouldn't be afraid of it. I do have, I didn't bring it with me. I do have one kit that has a little bit of everything in it. And it has a surface mount. It has big resistors, small resistors. That's the dummy load construction set. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, we're gonna start, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna go through this guy right here, and we're gonna lay down these parts. And you can see, you know, there's a lot of pads here, and there's a silk screen telling you what each part is and where it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one pad of each part, only one pad. I'm not going to do it for both pads or three pads. I'm just going to do one pad. And so I'm going to pick the right hand side on the top pad. If the part is going up and down, I'll take the top pad, and I'm just going to put a dab of solder on it.
Slide that down a little bit, like right up at the top of the screen.
Right there. How's that? Okay, so I'll put a dab of solder. So I got a little blob of solder on that pad, and then I'll take if it's something is horizontally aligned, I'll put it on the rightmost pad, and I'll just go right down the board of all these parts. And you don't have to do them all, but I'm going to. Again, you have to look at the outline on the board and see where the parts are, and then stick to that regimen. One pad for each part. I'm doing the tops of vertical. I'm doing the right-hand pad of the horizontal oriented parts. Going right down this strip. Now that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That was 14 parts going down this side of the board. Now, I also picked the left-hand side of the board because I'm right-handed, and when I bring my iron in, I've got all this clear space over on this side of the board that doesn't get in my way. And what we'll do is we'll end up building this way. So I'm always building. I'm going to build down, and I'm going to build to the right, only to keep clearance for my iron of all the parts.
Can you hold the board up to the camera so people can see? Somebody said they wanted to zoom in on the board to see. It's about as zoomed in as we can get at the moment.
Yeah, we're
if you're
so
trying
I
to
just
orient
did
yourself. Yeah.
I just did these parts right here. This one section of parts. These are through-hole parts mounted surface mount style.
Yeah.
Or Manhattan. Whoops, wait, there's a hell of a.
Yeah,
okay, there we go.
Glare.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's about as best as we can get.
It's a nice shiny board.
Yes, it's very shiny. Okay, so now by saving up all these and pre-sorting them, I'll bring in my sheet. So here are all my parts, all pre-bent with the little feet.
Dino says his YL Toby is following along, inventoried the parts, but are missing a couple. So
oh no!
Just contact you.
Yeah.
At your QRP.me site.
Do they have any extra parts?
Yeah, you might have extra parts too.
Because well, I had an email from somebody the other night, and he said he was missing two capacitors, but he had two extras. And I said, well, turn them over because they're marked on both sides. One side is the value. The other side is its voltage rating and temperature coefficient and lead style. So if you have extra parts, make sure you turn them over and read the other side because they might be the ones you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
And Steve and I
can't find a magnifying glass big enough to read the numbers.
Yeah, but Steve and I kidded all these, over a week ago. We're not perfect, but I thought we were pretty darn good at it. I thought we got everything. So if you're missing something, let us know, and I will get them right out to you. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did I just pick this up? I didn't. This is a sample I think I just did. Okay, I'm going to put it aside. So now that I've got these parts, now I look at the top and I see this is a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. And I do believe, can I have a shout out? I want a shout out. Hang on one second. Because I think if you look at the schematic, can you bring the schematic up? I think the schematic, this particular part is the output of the oscillator, of the sidetone oscillator going over to the transmitter board.
That's the 10 UF.
And we show it on the schematic as 10 UF. And I think I kidded based on the schematic, but the board says 0.1.
Oh, right there at the...
Yeah, at the output, right here. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, just because so that one right there that goes to those three, that jumper.
Yeah, so I'm gonna do a shout out. No, I'm not gonna shout out to Steve. Sorry about that, Steve. We don't want your phone to ring.
Yeah, it says 10 UF on the schematic.
It says 10 UF on the schematic, and I think that was a
bill of materials has a 10 UF.
Yeah. And I did the bill of materials based on the schematic. I think
this will give folks a second to catch up.
Yeah, we can catch up with us. Bend some parts if you haven't been.
So Dino said,
hey,
I'm not sure if it's Dino.
On the I'm doing the live Buildathon right now, and I'm doing a shout out. Remember the output capacitor from the sidetone over to the transceiver kit? Apparently I've got 0.1 on the schematic and I've got a 10 microfarad on the bill of materials. I kidded a 10 mic. It's from the sidetone over to the yeah.
The schematic that I got from wherever it came from,
yeah.
The amplifier part had a 10 mic. I looked that up.
Yeah.
It had a 10 mic, but then the circuit on the other end, it always had a 0.1.
Okay.
I don't know if you've got them in there. If you want to jumper one of them, do it.
Well, it's audio, so I mean it might not be that big a deal. Okay, we're gonna build it with 10 because that's what we have in the kit. That's what we have in the parts bag. Okay, we'll test it out. All right. Okay, that's it. End of the shout out. Thank you. Okay, bye.
So Dino says he was missing the LM386 and a 10K pop.
That's in the accessory bag. That's in the
So
bag.
that should be in the separate bag, right?
That's in the
What
separate
was that?
bag. It's in the Dino. That's Pappas.
KL0S.
I don't know call signs. I know I know names.
It was his.
Dino.
Well, Toby ordered it. KLOSS. Yeah.
Well, the point is there's a separate bag of right here. Where am I? Which camera? There should be a separate bag if you signed up for both of them. There's a bag that marked AT, which has the late breaking parts for both kits, the accessories and the transceiver.
Yep.
If you only ordered today's thing, it would be marked A. There
Yep.
should be a bag that says A, and inside that bag will be the LM3D6, the microprocessor, the pot, the knobs.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so check that out. All right, we're back to soldering. So I'm going to show you.
What was the conclusion with the capacitor?
We're going to go with the 10 mic the way I have it in the bill of materials, but we're going to lay it down. We'll see what happens. It's an audio circuit,
Yeah.
so 10 mic and audio is not a really big deal.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with the 10 mic, and we look at there's even a plus minus. There's even a plus orientation on this thing. So it just might be mislabeled. So the negative is the stripe that's on the capacitor. So I'm going to now I'm going to move my iron into the field of play here, because I'm going to tin the leg that I'm going to put on here, the top leg. I'm going to just tin that little teeny foot. And now I can go, I'm going to stand that thing up, and I'm going to put the foot right on the pile of solder from before. And I don't know if we can see that. I mean, we're getting,
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got this thing on the top one that we had the blob of solder. Now I got the little foot on it. And so now I will take and add the solder. And I'll solder the second foot. And that's it. But now I'm moving down the board, so you can see that I don't have to worry about bumping into that part. So you don't do this by, you build a Manhattan style or Limerick style construction, whatever, by position on the board, because you need to have good clear access to your pads. So the next thing on the list is a 2N3904. So here's the 2N3904. I've got the leads all pre-bent. I'm just going to take and double check that I need a little bit more spacing between them. You dry fit it. Okay.
Huh. Says that the pick was there in the second bag, but that's the only IC. 2 8-pin sockets, by the way. 10 UF looks right as an audio coupling capacitor. So he's still missing the 386.
Okay. Well, all right. I'm gonna lay that part on that blob. Hit it. Wait for it to cool. And then I'll take my dental pick, and I'm just going to move these parts so that they are centered over the pads. The other two pads, they're good. And I'm gonna unspool some solder so I don't have to keep lugging the spool around. So now I can lay the other two parts on. So you can see the work that was the pre-work of cutting the leads and bending them and getting them all right. That was the real work, but we don't have to cut it off. We don't have to worry about board stabilization or anything. I mean, it's just smooth sailing. So you just have to follow the board as you go down. Now, in this case, I got got a capacitor and resistor going horizontal and one. So I'm going to build on the left side and come out. So the first one is the 1 meg ohm resistor, which I just with my arm moved it off my board,
So can you get a copy of the schematic? Yes, the schematic is on the QRP-me site, qrpme.com. And if you pick Buildathon kits right there in the top, and then it's right there at the top of the Buildathon kits, you'll see the QSO Expo 9/17/2022. And you can see a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. And if you scroll down, there's accessories schematic down there near the end. So you should be able to get that while Rex searches for the
My 1 mega. I think I brushed it with my elbow, and my 1 mega took a hike.
So hopefully, Linda, hopefully that answers your get a copy of the schematic. You can get it there. Sounds like I'm going to have to run downstairs and find a 1 mega ohm.
No. I got a spare bag of parts here.
Okay. Could a crochet hook work instead of a dental pick? I don't know. Your mileage may vary.
Yes. That's really weird. I mean,
I
it was.
I don't have dental picks either, so
Well, I show in my tool guide. I show a set of dental picks. They're over. I think there's over underneath that white thing.
Yeah.
There's like $3.99 at Harbor Freight, and they're very handy to have. There's a 1 meg right there.
Okay. Down here.
No, I already searched down on the floor. I couldn't find it. So you get to see me.
Probably stuck in paper somewhere.
You get to see me bend another one. There's a brown, black, green. So that's 1 meg. So I straighten it out. Now you don't have to do the prep. It's just slower. But in a Buildathon mode, as to get as organized as possible, because we only got a couple hours, so you don't want to sit here and bend every single one of these. So I just bent that using my lead bending tool, and then I put it in my handy dandy little Manhattan foot making tool, and I bended it the 90-degree counteractive. Now you can put it down here and just push it so it's nice and flat, and then you cut off the long leads just to make 2 small feet. And the reason I like to make feet, you don't have to. I like to make feet because I always learned when you're soldering, it's not only electrical connection, but it's a mechanical connection. And the more mechanical connection you can make, in this case, by adding a little foot, you're putting another little space where a lot of solder can be sitting on top of. And the idea is it just is more complete in the way of holding on to that part on the solder. So again, I put that little foot there. I tinned it, put the little foot down, and redo the solder. And there it is. So I move the board a little bit, and I bend this around so it's sitting down on there again, and I can tackle it I can turn the board and tackle it from this side. And I forgot to mention that I am building this time. No, I normally build in the Buildathons with my nice soldering station, and I'm not. I'm using this iron that I got for $18 off of Amazon. It's got a temperature. I mean, I'm not shilling for this iron. I just happen to, I was trying to find a cheap iron that I could tell people that I like. In this case, it's got an on-off switch. It's got a temperature gauge, LCD display in there, and you can adjust the temperature, whatever temperature setting out. I got this set for 700 degrees. It's got a changeable tip, and it comes with like 5 different tips, and I'm using the very, very pointy conical tip here because I want to get into all these very small pads. Nice little iron. I've used it for several Buildathons now. I use it when I go out on the road, and it's a nice little iron. So the next part I got on here is a 33 picofarad. See, I just went to my little sheet over here, which you can't see anymore. Right over here where it says 33, and I grab that part, and I'm gonna have
the second part you soldered.
Second part was the
LM386.
no, it's the 3904.
3904.
Okay, I'm gonna leave my roller solder out with a little Cobra, my signature Cobra attachment solder. So what I can do is, there's my third hand. I can just put this part underneath there and tin it. Okay, so now I got one lead.
How do you find that iron on Amazon? Make and model.
I'll put a link up on my page. I thought I already did, but I'll make sure it shows up. Okay, so I soldered that one lead. Then I go and with my, you can use a flat bladed screwdriver. I'm just forming that part so the lead fits right on the pad. And I'm pushing down on the part, and I'll just take my solder and.
I think this is I think this one's the one that you got. It's 1668, 80-watt blue LCD soldering welding iron kit with ceramic heater portable soldering kit.
DGMQKJ, 80 watt.
Yeah.
I mean, for $17, it's a nice little iron.
I think it was like the second link when I just searched for soldering iron.
Yeah.
So
I bought them as a I have some low end what are they? They're low end Weller soldering stations. When I go to a Buildathon and people show up without an iron or tools or anything, I have to have all kinds of extras. And I had these soldering stations, and they were like, I don't know, $30, $35, and they were.
The key is that replaceable tip, right?
Replaceable
there, right?
tip,
Yeah.
very much the key.
Yeah.
And the fact that they give you a set of 5 or 6 extra tips on it.
Yeah.
I mean, and a stand, and
Some solder.
thing of solder. And the stand's not a cheesy one. Sometimes they give you this cheesy little stand right here. Yeah, right there, where you bend it out. That's not a very nice stand, but when you're doing ultra portable, here's the one that came with this iron. Pretty nice little stand. I like it. But hey, for $18 or whatever, free shipping, I bought like 7 or 8 of them, because now it's a much smaller kit for me to go to a Buildathon and bring 8 irons with me than 8 soldering stations.
Yeah, a bunch of little, just small ones.
And I like the iron. Okay, so the next one here is a 47K. So I go to my list, and where's my 47K? There it is right there. I'll tin one lead. Okay, and this is a vertical, so I'll just slide the board here. Now, the other thing is, a lot of people have problems with their fingers. They can't hold a part like that. So here's my favorite screwdriver, needle nose pliers from Jameco Electronics.
My close-up camera has stopped working. So.
And I got a rubber band around the handle. So now that they're grippers, and I can put that in there, and now I can hold that part very nicely without any effort at all. Now I'm going to make those feet at a little bit more 90 degree-ish. Remember which one I put the solder on for tinning it. So now I can hold it with the pliers in place. Solder that one part on. Undo the pliers from the rubber band. I push that down so it's making good contact on the other pad. And I mean, you make pretty good time by not having to turn the board over and cut the leads off and all that kind of stuff. But that was already done. I don't see it. Oh, there's our big.
That's the preview mode.
Okay. All right.
Don't worry about that.
Our big screen went down, so I wasn't sure if I was talking to myself or not. Okay. Next part on the list here is the 0.047. So I got an 047 right there. And again, I will. I will tin one lead. Come on. Okay. This time I am going to put it on in my pliers. Okay, and I know it's on the back side here, so I can go in there and I don't have to wind this thing through a whole bunch of parts because everything's wide open for me. I'll put that tin that pad, undo my pliers. Now, instead of a dental pick, I've got my flat bladed micro screwdriver, and I will push that thing down and center it on the pad, and it's ready to solder up.
So,
any questions out there?
Yep. Katie asks, can we get first and second parts again? So the first part was the 10 microfarad electrolytic capacitor.
Yep.
And
be mindful that there's a plus designator on one end of that.
Yep.
And the second part was the 3904 transistor.
And that 10 microfarad capacitor is blue, and it should say 10 UF.
It says 10 UF on it.
Because the other capacitor is black.
Right.
There weren't any black 10 microfarad capacitors, were there?
Well, there's one right there, but we haven't got there yet.
That's 1 microfarad though.
That's right.
Not 10.
Nope.
All the 10 ones, I think, were blue.
They were all blue. Yeah, we had hundreds, I think, were black.
The 100 or the 1.
Yeah, not in this kit. Tomorrow's kit, we got different values in there, different colors.
And the second part was the 39.
Okay. So I'm trying to see if I know I'm trying to do a reverse image here.
Yeah, but the problem is there's a QSO Today logo on the screen that you can't see. So it ended up the capacitors logo.
All right. So again, so you got this little forest of parts right here, and we're just going down and this way.
Yep.
Okay. So we just keep on going. So the next part on here is another 0.047. Now I drew a circle on my sheet because I left a capacitor totally undone, just again to show how I do it. And I take I'm so rich selling QRP kits that I can afford 2 pairs of my favorite blue screwdrivers. One I keep with the
pliers, not screwdrivers.
Pliers. Okay. My favorite alligator / needle nose pliers. Okay. And they are spring loaded. I take the springs out. And so they normally spring open, but that's exactly what I don't want. So I take them away. I put rubber bands on one. So now I got, in essence, a hand vise that I can hold apart with. And the other one is just one that I can manipulate. So this is the one I'm going to use. And what I do is for a part.
No, we're on the other camera. But
okay.
There you go.
For this part, see, I've got leads at 0.2 inches and the pads here are 0.4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a lead.
Hold it down a little lower. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I'm going to grab a lead. I'm going to bend it 90 degrees out. And I'll grab the other side and bend it 90 degrees out. Okay. And then I know roughly where 0.4 is by the fact that I built so many of them. Okay. I'll just go out there about there and go out here. So I've now remolded that leads to 0.4. And I'm going to put them not quite in the very high. I'm going to use a short section. I'll put them in there, and there's the 0.4. I'll bend the leads apart. And
I would say if you miss a part, it might be just as easy to, if you get too far behind on missing a part, skip it, and it will be a part that's there later.
Yeah.
If you know you missed one, sort of like Morse code, right? If you miss a letter, don't try to overthink it because you got to keep going.
Yes, yes. Don't dally on something that isn't there. So again, there's my handmade.
It'll be the part that's left at the end.
Yeah, could very well, but you might have a problem getting it in there. That's the problem with some of these parts. That is the problem. But I mean, like for instance, that transistor, if it's not there, okay, you can get one of those in there from either side.
Yeah.
What was the part that they were looking for? I can't remember now.
The first and second parts, but I think we
Yeah,
we
well,
got it covered for.
Yeah. Well, in that case, you just turn the board this way, and you do 2 and then 1.
Yeah.
You know, going this way again. You can do mirror image. Okay, so here's 0.47. So I'm going to go in there. Okay, I forgot. I'm going to hold that with my pliers with the rubber band on it. Come on. Rubber band so tough. I really got to be a.
I don't know why I'm wearing these glasses. I brought the wrong glasses. No wonder why I can't.
Okay, so I put that on the pad. Got it. And get my flat screwdriver out. Now reshape this thing so that it goes up in the air and then comes back over to that pad.
So we are at 149. We must have dillied down like a lot at the beginning. Oh, well,
Geez,
it took us a
really?
little bit to get started. Yeah, I was like, holy cow.
149?
Yeah.
Holy crap! We're gonna go until 5 o'clock now.
Well, I hope not. Otherwise, people will be subjected to Dungeons and Dragons when my son comes out with his friends.
this video room turns into a D&D den.
It does.
Shortly. Oh no!
When we're done, the monsters come out.
So, okay. So there's another part down the tubes. Now we got, looks like 2 18K resistors. 2 18K resistors, which are right here. All right. So
Pre-sorted for your pleasure.
whoop, yeah, I was touching that. That got a little hot. Now that, by the way, if you're actually tinning and holding onto something,
It wouldn't be the first time.
well, remember that's an 80-watt iron.
Yeah. Like I said, it wouldn't be the first time.
That blows some serious heat in there, and I'm having a little problems. These parts are kind of close together, and my pliers have got a problem.
That was a loud squeaky sound. Sorry about that as I adjusted the camera. Can you read the color code? Which one was that? That was
18K, brown, gray, orange. Yeah, if you're building kits, man, you better start learning your color codes.
or have a multimeter, right? That's what everybody does today.
Yeah.
They just throw them on a multimeter and find out what they are.
There's actually some component testers out there that are pretty handy because they'll test capacitors and inductors too. And they, you can buy them on eBay for like, I don't know, $18, something like that.
I had an old Radio Shack multimeter that would test diodes, transistors. I think it did capacitors and inductors too.
Probably capacitors, but I bet you it didn't do inductors.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so now we got another 18K, which is right here. Do the same thing. I'm going to put it in my pliers because I don't want to burn myself again. Now, we do this build-a-thon, and I've been building stuff for over 50 years. So don't get dismayed if you can't keep up. I try to go slow.
Well, plus we're in a time slot here.
We're in a
2
time
hours,
slot.
so,
There's
yeah.
only 2 hours, so that's why the beauty of this is he keeps it up, and you can watch it.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I keep putting a little bit too much pressure on that. So you can go back, and in fact, I see a lot of people tell me they just pay attention here. They don't try to build along, and then they go build at their own speed on the replay.
Well, the challenge is too is getting a kit that's buildable in that amount of time.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm trying to prove that. I'm not doing a good job of it right at the moment. My
We
lead.
can do some rework. It's not a big deal.
Well, that
Yeah.
I put a little bit too much downward pressure on that one there.
I don't know whether you guys prefer this close-up view like this or the overhead view of stuff.
Well,
you know, if one works better than the other, it'd be good for us to know going forward in terms
okay,
of
I got an
which view works best.
O22, which is right here. O22. And
Or of course this view, but this view is probably not the best for watching and with the parts on the board. Well, that view has nothing on it right now. My camera crap out again.
oh, we haven't had a perfect one of these things yet, have we? But this is it's just one part at a time. You have to know the technique about which ones to put down first and how to build it, because you can very quickly end up with a whole bunch of parts there, and then you're trying to put a part down and you can't get there from here. As the old main joke is, you can't get there from here. Okay, I'm continuing on. We don't have a close-up camera. Do we have an overhead? I can't see
It's the
nothing, so
overhead.
I have no
Yep,
idea what's
the
going on now.
The overhead cameras. There.
Okay, PN 2222. So here we are, the PN. I'm going to set it down and say, okay, all those leads line up. They're really not a clean 90 degrees, so I'm going to make it a nice clean 90 degrees. I like that now. So again, I will take my now when you're doing transistors, you remember that you've got a silk screen here that shows you the flat side and the rounded side. That's because they are oriented just like electrolytic capacitors, so you got to know which way is which. So there's the flat side is towards me, which is what it is in this picture. Probably should have bent it the other way, but that's okay. It will work. It'll still work. I'm going to have to reach over the one lead to get to the middle, but I'm just making sure it's, yep, they're centered. They're centered, so I can clean my iron, put a little bit of dab on it, go into the middle. Then the outside edge. Turn my board around again. And so now I'm on the outside with the 4.7K resistor. I'm holding it with my hand again, and I can feel that 80-watt iron. When I do like elementary kits for a build-a-thon, I try to do them so there's not a whole hell of a lot of parts on them, because I know for beginners and people who really haven't spent a lot of time soldering, the more parts you lay down, the more difficult it is to get it done in any kind of a time frame. So I've been to, I've held build-a-thons at Dayton, and they're supposed to go from 4 o'clock to 7, and I've been there at midnight still helping people build something that, it only should take a couple of hours to do, but everybody's different until they really get a good
rhythm.
Yeah, until they get a good experience level. Like me, I've been trying to learn how to weld. Now I can solder pretty good. I've never been successful. I own 3 welders and I still can't weld, but that's because I haven't put the time in. One of these days, I'm going to clear off the bench and I'm going to sit there for 3 or 4 hours and weld up a bunch of crappy stuff until I know what I'm doing.
What part did you just grab there? Another resistor?
This is another that I just put down a 4.7K. Now I'm putting down the 0.022 transistor capacitor.
0.022. Okay.
Yeah, which is just below the that PN2222. Okay, I just plopped that one down.
We seem to have gotten a fly in here too.
I know, he's bugging me.
Up. Yeah.
He's been in my face a couple of times now.
So if you see the camera suddenly jar and fly off the table, it's us trying to get the fly.
So I'm doing the second side. I can't stress how important it is to keep your iron clean, and tinned nicely with a little dab on it. So I'm using brass shavings to clean my iron. I do not like sponges. I was a wet towel man, then I was a sponge man. Now I'm a shavings man. Because the metal shavings, when you plunge your iron into it, it doesn't cool off. It just wipes clean. On a sponge or what have you that's got water in it, your iron turns water to steam and it sucks so much energy out of your iron that it's not good. So here's a 10K resistor.
I think you're right. That white really washes out. This white table really messes up the camera.
Yes. I think it makes it bloom or something.
Yeah.
It closes down the iris or something and then forget about trying to get a good video out of it. Okay, so
Greg asked, because the parts are mounted on the back, the board can't lay flat. Are you supposed to use the CW key with the board vertical, keying sideways?
no, you're supposed to mount it on something.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
In the second hour of our broadcast, we'll get to.
Yeah, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's, again, I take my flat screwdriver and I'm just moving that part around so the foot's in the middle of that pad and solder it down. So we have gone all the way down that side with all those parts. Now, granted, if you went to a site, I think is AA7EE, you look him up. He builds stuff with Manhattan pads. He likes the Manhattan pads I sell, but when he builds something, it's a piece of art. I don't have the time and the energy to do that. But I mean, everything is nice, square, 90-degree, everything, and I mean, it's an experience. So go take a look at AA7EE.
The electrons in order, right?
Yeah, pretty sure that's his call sign. So there is the majority of the parts of this. We still have some more over here, not very many. And you see we're thinning out on my sheet. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to work over this way. I'm going to build from left to right and from top to bottom. And I got a few more parts here that are, let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got 10 parts left. So now the next one here is I'm gonna go over here this way. So I'm gonna again pre-solder some pads. I'm gonna take the right-hand side pad or a top pad, but there's a right-hand side, top. Here's a top one over here. Geez, someone didn't eat enough lunch.
Yeah,
we should have had 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Should have had an extra sandwich there.
Yeah, should have had an extra sandwich, man.
Yeah, there's no way to tell here how many people are in the session.
This
is unfortunate.
We used to be able to keep track of who they were, and
yeah, it seemed like I don't know if it was. Oh no, maybe that's when we did it in Zoom.
I don't know.
Or when we streamed on YouTube. because we could see how many people were in the session.
Yeah, the first couple really didn't work very well for us, so we streamed them ourselves. Okay.
Tell you what, if you're watching the stream, put a comment in that says anything.
Yeah,
just so we can get an
just so we
idea.
can see if anybody's following along, or if I'm just doing this for myself.
Even if you just say me or I'm here, or actually a good joke would be great.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like good
I
jokes.
haven't had a good joke lately.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep on going, assuming things are, some people are keeping up, some people are not, some people are falling behind. I'm trying to go relatively slow. I could be going a lot faster than this.
Yeah.
I'm on purposely just trying to do a slow pace.
Well, Greg said anything, so there's one.
Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, so here is the 2N7000. There's the flat on that side. So I'm going to lay down this.
George tuned in late, but he said it looks like fun.
Okay, so there's the first pad. Someone just rolled up in the driveway.
Somebody just pulled in my driveway and it'll come up here.
I hope they're not a D&D person trying to get here early.
Nobody out there.
Oh, geez, I thought I heard a car.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay.
Dave says he's really enjoying it. Carl's following along, maybe a little ahead.
Oh, all right, Carl. Go for it.
Lom KU5J is here. Stephen, I know. Great name, Stephen. Says we're doing great.
Okay. All right. So I got a point.
Does Stevens in the session agree?
0.33. As long as the Stevens are happy, I'm okay with that. So I'm working my way across the bottom of the board here. So
Jennifer says she's hanging out, but not really keeping up.
Well, that's okay. Jennifer is. I think
I love her call. KI1TTY. Kitty.
Oh, Kitty.
Yeah, it's cool.
Is that Garland?
Jennifer.
Jennifer Garland.
Oh, I don't know.
I think wasn't she participating the first time in a hotel room someplace in San Francisco or something? Yeah. I seem to remember that.
And Newton, whose call is N4EWT. Okay, these are getting good. Who's following along too?
Okay. Yeah, I am gonna use my. Maybe I don't need quite as many wraps on my on my pliers because I'm not really taking a lot of pressure here. I just took a wrap off my rubber band here.
I get all my rubber bands free from the Postal Service. When they wrap the mail up. Matthew, great video so far. He got called into work, so he has to work later tonight. Oh, that's a bummer, man. John's a little ahead eating yogurt while we catch up.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Go, John.
Alan's following along at half the speed.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Okay. We got a 1 microfarad next, or at least on my video. Okay. Looks to me like I bent that one a little bit too wide. So I'm going to unbend this side.
Linda's planning on using her solder sucker later today.
Well, I have mine, but I'm hoping that we don't have to use it.
That's why they make them.
That's right.
That's what I always tell students. If it's hard, it means you're learning.
Okay. Let's see which way is the plus side. Geez, I don't see it marked on this one. Plus side though is next to the regulator. So this is the plus side. So I guess I better tin that lead next.
Ah, okay. So Toby, so it's Dino, like the dinosaur. So yeah, Toby's a first-time kit builder, watching and taking notes. Build it later with the recorded video. Which yeah, you can pause and rewind the recorded video.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to pause real life, so. And they're the ones.
Well, you could actually, if you had OBS on your computer, you could be bringing this in from the remote
Yeah.
and re-recording it on your computer. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
What?
Yeah, you bring in as a virtual camera into OBS, record the session because you're going to broadcast it out, rebroadcast that
Right.
in. You record it. Now you got it, and you can pause and everything got because you got the video on your computer.
Right.
Yeah.
Paul's all cut up. Lost 20 minutes. Someone else using the internet. Speed sucked. Yeah,
Oh,
I know how that
yeah,
goes.
we know how that
Yeah.
goes.
Somebody found an extra 4-pin socket. 4-pin socket? Oh, it must be an 8-pin. 4
Yeah.
on each side.
4 on each side.
Well,
Yeah, okay. You win some, you lose some. In this case, you got a free socket.
Yep.
Okay, I got a 78L05 now.
It sounds like
Okay.
we got a fair number of people out
Those
there.
are-
That's good to know.
Those are nicely done at 90 degrees. So I'll just grab it. Tin one side. Remember, you're tinning the rightmost lead when you install it, because that's the one I actually tinned on the board. Very good. I wait for it to cool down. Now I take my little screwdriver and make sure they're centered very nicely, and hit the other two. 1, 2. Looking good. Yeah, this table doesn't work very good. Okay, so I'm down to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only got 6 parts left. Looks like a 1K is next on my agenda. So I go, where the heck did I just see it? Oh, there's on the green board. I can't see it. $1K.
That's a good question. So Linda is left-handed, as are a minority of us in the world.
Yes. So
Should
you
she
go
tin the left-hand side first?
Well, no, she should be building. She should build. Yeah. If she did the same strip we did and built from, let's say, left hand, built from the right hand side over.
Yeah.
So I would tin the right hand. I tin the I have to do this. If I got my iron here, I would tin the rightmost part, which is what I just did.
Yeah.
But the parts you're placing are the leftmost parts. That's the key. Is I'm placing the. See, I did the leftmost. I placed the parts going to the left. But if she's soldering from the left, she wants to place the parts
going
from the right going to the left.
Yeah.
Boy, that's confusing.
Yeah, though that would be hard to follow along with during the build-a-thon. But doing your own kit, it might be, easier doing it that way so that your solder hand is not in the way.
That's right. Well, that's what you're trying to do, is you want to make sure that your iron doesn't get a whole bunch. If I was trying to go over all those parts to get in there, it'd be impossible.
Yeah.
It's just be terrible.
I know that challenge of buying left-handed notebooks. I mean, it's just horrible. Left-handed pencils.
left-handed bacon stretchers.
Left-handed spoons.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a 0.1 here.
Left-handed extension cords. The world is made for right-handed people.
Yeah, my sister's a lefty, so I know what you. I think key to this thing here for most people, even me. I mean, my hands are relatively nimble, but having that, holding the part in a pair of pliers or tweezers or what have you, just makes it your fingers are not way down in there, so it just makes it a lot easier to work and hold that part. Let's see, what was I got? I got a 0.1. Yep.
you always have your parts on your non-dominant hand in any project? Not sure I understand. Do you always have your parts on your...
I would say so, because my dominant hand is what's controlling the soldering iron.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm always using my right hand
So
for
you put
soldering
all
iron.
your
'Cause,
stuff on the non-dominant side.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
my dominant side. All
Yeah.
right. I need.
Paul makes a good comment. He saves all his cut legs, and he puts them in his screwdrivers, the clear case that he comes in, so he can save them for solder bridges and stuff
Yep.
later on.
We
so,
need one later.
Yeah, so keep them because you're going to need one later.
Yeah, I'm gonna need one later. So I need a 10K. All right, we're getting down. We've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 parts left. So I mean, this is the hardest part, of course, laying down all these silly little parts. And if they caught my video from last night where you prep all the parts before you get to the build-a-thon, then this goes a lot faster.
Like a strange delay when I'm switching cameras too, so I apologize for that. It's supposed to be a nice fade transition, but OBS has been giving me problems. Yeah, we don't have very many parts left.
Okay, and the next one is another 10K. I have this little foot making tool. I only have that's my own design, and I have someone making me a whole slew of them. I would have been a really nice guy and put some in some kits, but I didn't have any to put in. So
are we going to need a tape measure? Are you going to cut the antenna today, or is that tomorrow?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what to do about that. I do have a very accurate tape measure with me.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, Paul says internet speed went south to Australia. Wonder if that's mine or his. No.
Yeah, back when I had.
We will have a recording of it, so if things do go haywire, we'll.
Back when I had a Verizon hotspot, my daughter was upstairs. She was a teenager, upstairs watching movies like 24/7, and of course the bandwidth would go bonkers, and you only got, I think it was 5 gig, and then you had to pay an extra $10 for another 5 gig, and I think the first fee was like $50 for 5 gigs, and my wife had a hemorrhage one month. I think we had to pay $180 for the hotspot because my daughter had watched so many movies.
Yeah. Yeah, no matter how much you pay for internet, you're always going to have problems, it seems.
Well, I finally stepped up and I bought a Spectrum business account.
Yeah, plus we're out in the country. I mean,
and that's our problem. We're out in the country.
Yeah, I got more trees than people, that's for sure. Not in a prime service area.
Yeah, I'm further out in the trees.
Yeah.
The only thing that saved up is a pandemic, and there was, because they didn't even want to come down our road because there was only 3 people on our road, and they said, no, it's not worth it. But then the pandemic hit, and the next door neighbor to us had 3 kids in the school system, and they were committed to somehow, getting the kids so that they had internet for their classroom. Okay, so I'm down to, hey, this is the last one.
Ooh.
Last one of these silly things. Okay.
Yeah. Well, John says he's got no delays on his end, so it's always hard to tell where those problems are, whether it's us, whether it's in the platform, or whether it's
Yeah.
on the other end. So
Well, we've certainly had our experiences with the platform being the
Yeah.
problem.
yeah. I wish everybody could see everybody else's comments. That's the one. I thought I gave Eric that feedback last time too.
Yeah, but doesn't necessarily mean he's going to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. There are all the parts that are mounted Manhattan style. Not too bad. So yeah, now we've got a problem because we got a couple of parts that we have to solder on that side, but we load the part from the top. So we're going to continue on. I'll get my clipboard out of here because I don't need that anymore. And I'll bring in I use my tuna cans to hold parts of different. These are all the big parts. So now we've got a problem. Okay, so here's where I missed it. I missed a component right here at the input side of the tuner, and I had to drill holes manually. So the connectors are mounted so that the screw terminals are on the outside of the board. I mean, the places where you put the wires are on the outside. And there's 3 of these. There's power, tune, and antenna. So we'll lay all 3 of those in there. Now, the trick in doing these is to flip the board over quickly or have something else to hold these guys. But in this case, did you see how we did that?
Quickly.
Okay, and I'm pushing down, and I'm going to put something on the other. Oops. Yeah, I'm going to put something on the other side. Right about. Oh, I've got a big bulge in this work surface here.
You're welcome.
That's why that board isn't laying down very nice. I'm going to really clean my iron nice, and so I'm going to push down nice and firm with one finger here while I solder these connectors on. I'm having a little bit of a problem with heat here.
It's all went into your finger before.
Oh, my iron's dropping down.
Uh-oh. The power strip's still on.
No, all of a sudden, when I pick it up every once in a while, I must hit the minus on it. I've noticed I was having difficulty, so I moved it now back up to 380 degrees centigrade.
Now it's down to a 4-star review on Amazon.
Yeah, I just got to remember to make sure you're not holding it here and you get your fingers on the. Let's see if that changes the. I don't know how instantly it will come up to full
It's pretty
heat.
small. It should go pretty quick, right?
I'm going to let it build up because I can't quite tell if it's up to temperature or not. I don't know if there's an indicator here.
Well, don't taste it.
No, I wasn't. I just get it close enough and you can feel the heat. Let's try this one here. Nope.
I'll just put up the PowerPoint slideshow instead then.
Oh, yeah, it's getting a little bit better.
No, you don't want to put up the PowerPoint slideshow.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you dropped one of them out, though.
Yeah. It didn't feel as though it was trying to put down pressure at the same time I'm doing this. Well, that's a little bit better. I'm just gonna take a minute. So If you got any questions, fire away because I'm in the mood for questions. I'm waiting for this iron to come up to the temperature again. I'm going to add a bit more.
Well,
heat.
see, mine has a little light and it just constantly blinks when it's at temperature.
Constantly blinks.
Which annoys you, I know.
Yeah, it annoys me.
At least I know
end.
it's at temperature because it's blinking. It does seem like it should be solid when it reaches temperature or something.
Yeah.
You can
All
write
right.
to the
No,
Weller company.
I can see this iron now with a little bit more heat, higher heat setting. The darn fly again. Get out of here, fly. I feel I should be in a presidential debate or something. Okay, I'll go back and do this one, which I don't like the looks of. You should, I mean, when you got a soldering connection that doesn't look like a little, like miniature volcano with a nice smooth fillet and all that kind of stuff, and it looks all blobby and I don't like it, so I go back and reflow it. That's how I could tell it was getting cold because it just was not. Okay, those look good. And the problem is we have this one in the center, which doesn't have a silk screen around it. It has a connection that's out in the middle of nowhere. It's very.
Transition to the other one. Oh, let me go back. There you go.
I can't see it up on the.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. Sorry. It's in the right spot.
It's in the right spot?
Yeah.
Okay. There's that connection is out in the middle of nowhere. I had to drill those by hand. So we got to lay that over to the pad next to it. Just so happens I got a nice spool of bus wire, bare bus wire, but you can use a solder lead, clip lead, or anything.
John said he just put Scotch tape over those connectors to hold them in place.
Yep, you can do that.
Whatever works to hold them in place, that works.
Now, in this case, I'm cutting a much longer piece of braid that I need, of bus wire I need. I'm going to make a nice little hook. I'm going to close it around that lead. My piece of solder is getting awfully low here.
Closer look at the last group of items.
Okay.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Let me get this thing done. Okay. So now I think this is the last. I'm going to use this piece of solder. Come on, get out of here, fly. Yeah, still don't like the looks of that. I'm just gonna.
So, Linda, the last group of items, the connectors or the last few components? I assume you mean the last few components, but should make sure we ask.
Yes.
You hitting a button again? I didn't catch it on camera that I know of.
No, but I have a much bigger pad here with these things, and I think what it's doing is it's soaking away the heat.
Yeah.
The bigger the pad you have, like for instance, if you're connecting something to the solder, the ground plane, I mean, it can suck a lot of heat out of your iron and carries it away. So I just busted my temperature up on this iron so that I could.
Okay, so Linda said the green components, so those are the connectors.
Yeah, boy, it just doesn't look right. Okay, that looks much better now. And I'll cut the tail off of that.
And then show a closer look at those connectors. So
we had these three connectors along the back line. Whoops. I can't see. Okay.
There you go.
So now we have a 3-pin over on this side and the stereo paddles.
So
we got
flip that over a little bit. There There you go. Yep. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Hopefully that works.
Yeah.
So they're oriented so that the wires come in from the outside.
Right.
So what's the other side of those look like? Just so turn the board. around.
That you just see the
Nope,
clampy
yep,
thing that
yep,
goes up and
yeah,
down.
there you go. That's what I was. Yeah. So the clampy thing is on that side.
Okay. So we'll continue on. I'm gentle putting the board down because I got all these parts on it now. If you had my little wondrous little,
Yep.
this is one of my other inventions.
So you're about to work over on the rig connector side, right? And there's 3 pads there.
Yeah, there's I still have another. So see, now it's nice and stable. Okay. I got a 3-pin connector I got to put on, and that was in the accessories bag, the AT bag.
Yep. So
Which we
you've got 3 things there. Gerald is asking, on the rig connector, what does the center connector connect to? Transmit or ground? On the rig connector. I thought that was the one you were about to do there, right there with the sidetone. No, that's sidetone key and ground.
From underneath where it says rig.
Yeah.
Well, it says ground and RF. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the ground coming from the transceiver.
Yeah.
Okay. And the RF out of the transceiver comes in here. We do the antenna tuning part of it, and then it goes out the antenna connection.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's our my solder bots holding the board up, and we're going to put this triple down here. And ST is side tone, ground in the key. So these are signals going from the accessories here going out to the transceiver for the side tone and for the keying transistor. And then the output of the rig comes back into the rig and goes out the antenna. We got power coming in.
I don't know if that answered his question or not.
I don't either.
He says on the rig. Oh, well, that'll be tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you hook up to the transceiver.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got this guy here. Unfortunately, well, we can just set it right down because all we got now are the connectors, the screw terminal connectors.
Okay.
So they're all pretty much exactly the same height. So I'm just pushing it down with my finger.
Paul, I apologize. Your thing's going in and off, or on and off, but this will be recorded, so you can always pick it up later too. I know Eric posts these all after the ham. What do we call this?
Ham Expo.
Ham Expo. Yeah.
QSO
after it's
today.
done.
Yeah.
I know he posts them all, so you'll have all the links. to
It
be
takes
able
a
to watch it.
week to 10 days for these
Yeah.
live stream ones to go up. Most of them are up within the week, but these live streams, they have to do a
Yeah.
lot of conversion or something.
And he
It
says,
takes a while.
Paul says his is missing the solder pad for ground. He'll have to scrape the paint. Paul, is that on? No, wait. These are 2 different people. One is Paul. Missing the ground. On the rig connector, what does the center connect to? X-Mint or ground on the rig?
You talking about the rig connector? It's only a 2-pin connector.
Yeah.
So one of them goes straight down to RF, and the other one has to go over to the side where it says ground. That's what we have to jumper across. It's
So
not
that's-
missing a pad.
Yeah.
This
Can
is
you show that a little bit closer there?
okay. Well,
No, on the bottom side of the board where you.
okay. See, we put the 2-pin connector in, but yeah, there is no pad there, so we're jumpering it across to the ground that's right next to it.
Yeah. And I think that's what he was asking. On that
Yeah.
one is where does that go? Does it go to RF
That-
or ground?
That
It
just
to
goes right
ground.
over to the ground side.
Yeah. So that's the place where there was no pad. and you
Right.
have to
I
jump
drilled
right
through the
across. Yep.
board so we could mount the connector, but now there's no pad there, so we have to go over to the pad. This spacing was 0.5 inches, and it doesn't match any connector I could come up with.
Yeah.
So I couldn't make any adjustments. After I got the board, I said, "Oh crap, I missed that connector."
Yeah. So Linda looks like she's got the same thing. I think she's saying that too. Is so, and you drilled holes in all of those boards. to
They
hook up
should
to
have
it,
a
so
hole
there.
there.
Should be a hole there.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
put the connector on, and you see that one side comes right through this thing. It says RF, and the other one comes between the two.
Yep. Yep.
And that's the pad that's missing. That pad ground should have come over to that
Yep.
point, but it didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, I think
So we
that's-
put a bridge across there.
Yep. I think that's.
And the other thing you can do is you could put a little bit of super glue on here after the fact, or
Just to keep it.
just
in
a
there.
little strain relief on the connector.
So the hole's a little distant. Can I bend the wires?
No, you can't. You can't
It'd be
bend
hard
that.
to bend those wires.
Well, they're so short, they're not going to bend. They're not going to make it. So you can use a piece of clip lead that we took off of a resistor.
Yeah.
You can, if you're building a kit tomorrow, if you're building the transceiver, that we typically take and clip some of the lead off of the crystal.
Yeah.
Because they're very tall and you want to get them shorter to the connector. That's an excellent, very stiff lead that would make a nice jumper here.
Yep.
So does she have a
Oh, I think she meant bend it so that it will fit into the holes.
oh yeah, bend it. So yeah, I might.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to drill them by eye.
Yeah.
I didn't have a rig to drill them in there super accurate, but they're
Yeah.
supposed to be oversized. So that, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So the next one I'm going to put in is the stereo jack for the paddles.
So John says on the 3 connector one, ground does not seem to be connected.
That is correct. It really isn't ground. That was kind of a mistake. I mean, we don't carry the ground over there from that. So on the stereo jack, I just like to have the 2 back leads non-crimped. I like to have them just straight. So when I put them in the holes, it works a lot better. They go down in there and it seats in there very nicely.
I may mount an SMA connector here later on to connect a tuna tin. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. What did I just put on here? Oh, I put on the stereo
Just
jack.
Stereo jack. Well, if you caught us a year or so ago, we did the tuna tin tuner too.
Yep. The thing is that the antenna we're dealing with, this tuner is a tuner specifically for a W3 EDB and EDP antenna. Okay, which is, hold on, a wire antenna. Okay, a simple wire antenna with the impedance is not 70 or 50 ohms.
Yeah.
So a coax jack is not the right thing to have in this particular case, because you, in essence, you have a high, typically 300 to 600 or whatever impedance coming in the one piece of wire. So you really don't want that going through a coax connector.
Yep.
Okay, which is why I specifically put on this a separated terminal jack, because it is not 75 ohms.
Let's see. Well, Jennifer sounds like her power went out, so she's running on a battery. Linda asked, "Are those golf tees?" I think she's talking about the brass set things.
No,
that we got
this is a thing I invented a long time ago. It's just a little board hole. It's a brass cube with a slot in it and a thumb screw. And when you put them on the board, you can tighten it right onto the board. And they see the thumb screws are now taller than all the parts. So when you turn the board over, they're like legs. So it keeps the board up off the thing and off these components.
Where is this on your site? Is it under? It's not.
It's under homebrew supplies.
Homebrew supplies.
Homebrew supplies.
Homebrew stuff. So let's see. It's down here.
Whoop, didn't you go by it?
No, right there.
Right there.
There's no picture.
No picture.
But there's a picture here. So yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a set of 4. Unfortunately, I've had a hard time getting the machine shop to make them for me. They're on back order. But I got someone else making me a new set that are going to be able to sell. I'm going to sell them cheaper because they're made out of plastic instead of brass. That brass is really tough to work with. Okay.
Version 2.
Version 2, yeah. So anyway, so I just mounted the paddle jack. Okay. Now I got this board sitting up. Again, if you don't have boards, you don't have these things. That's why I have these things. Geisha. You can almost always find a gap in the board in which you can lay it down on a couple of tuna cans. In this case, they're not really tuna cans. These are water chestnuts. The video last night, I mentioned that my daughter is a vegetarian. She went to college and became a vegetarian. So I buy a lot of water chestnuts when I make her stir fry. And use your safety. I bought one of those safety openers
Yeah.
that goes to the side.
Peels
Doesn't
the
leave
top
a
off. Yep.
yeah. And so now you got these really nice cans, and I use them for all kinds of things. So I see my brass set. I'll take them away. They're gone. Okay, I got 2 cans now. You could use a piece of wood or something, but the problem is you typically have things around there that when you get close, we're working on the edge, so it's easier to find something in which just has a stiff vertical surface on it. Okay, so we're going to go after something else. We're going to go after the little push button switch. And that should just, now I happen to notice these, I don't know why. I mean, I get them from a reputable thing, but they have a tendency to look like they're tarnished a little bit, but I think it's the phosphor bronze or whatever that they're made out of. So what I like to do is I got my little X-Acto, my little utility knife. I just like to scrape them down so they look a little bit more shinier than I see them. Okay, so you put that in where the fun circle is. Should go right in, right down. You bend the leads apart. Stays put. Okay, and I'm going to put the 8-pin socket right next to it. There's the 8-pin socket. There's a little rectangular thing up on the top side.
After you place that in there, can you show that on the camera?
I will.
So people can see?
I'm gonna. Okay. There's a little round dimple that's on the top side. So I'm going to put my finger on top of it, go over on the other side and get my little flat bladed screwdriver. And I'm just going to take opposite corners, 2 leads, and bend them over. And now that socket stays put. And there's one other part, which is the potentiometer, which is a 50K pot, which is this one right here. And you have to bend these out. You have to swedge these, bend these out a little bit at an angle. And again, dry fitting these parts. I'm going to take the crinkle out of these pins. You know, it just takes a little while to figure out how to match the part to the holes. I gotta look at the top side of the board. There we go. Okay, there it is. Now it's in. So that's the last of the parts on the top side of the board. So now I can, that one's got so much side pressure on those things that I don't even have to do any lead bending or anything. So now I can go after all these parts. So we'll go after the flanges first. That's the mechanical relief, strain relief on that. Then go after the 3 little pins. Any more comments coming in?
Did you say you have your thumb screw blocks and your plastic T-square tool on your website? Yes.
Yes.
But those thumb screw blocks right now are back ordered?
Yeah.
You don't, or you do have some in stock?
I have some being shipped to me today.
Okay.
But you can't, I mean, you can order some, but you're not going to get what you order because I haven't changed the price on them yet.
Yeah. So they are on the website.
Yeah. It's called a brass set.
Yeah.
But you can't get yourself a brass set right now because I don't have any. And the machine shop that makes them has resigned, has retired. So I had to find someone else. And so now they're being 3D printed in plastic. Okay. So, I got to lay down the, I forgot what I was doing, the microprocessor socket.
I don't know if I can post a link. I don't know how to post it. So start with QRPME.
Yeah, QRPME.com.
Yeah.
And over on the right-hand side of the screen is all the square category buttons. And you go down to Homebrew Supplies. And you'll find the tools and things that I've invented for home brewing.
Well, there's a really large link on the screen, but that probably won't be as useful. See if I can make it smaller and readable.
Okay, so there's my.
I know this might look a little weird to people as I'm trying to resize text on the screen live, but there you go.
So I have to now cut the extra leads off that little push button, and that's it. So there's all the soldering that needs to be done on. Well, not quite, not quite, but most of it. So now what we have to do is these big tuning capacitors. These are polyvaricon tuning capacitors, and this is where we can make mistakes. So if you look at this side, I'm going to set this stuff aside for a second. If you look at this tuning capacitor, this one side has 1, 2, 3, 4, and the other one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the two real things we want. This is ground. These are the two things we really want to connect to. These are trimming capacitors that are on the bottom side. So what we're going to do is bend these things right down so that they're right down on top of each other. So try to do it nice and neat so they come down and right on top of each other like that. Okay. And then go down here and bend them right. Well, yeah, I want to bend them right at the bottom of the thing. So I'm going to put my pliers on the bottom and I'm going to bend them up 90 degrees. Or you can go in this way and bend them up like that. Okay, so now you have 3 of them that are bent out like that, and 2 of them are riding on top of each other. Okay, this other side, I'm going to cut them right off. Don't need them. Okay, so there's how we've made what we're going to mount. We'll do the second one. So I'll take these guys. Got to make sure you're on the right side. And this side only has 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can cut those off. Don't need them. These are just extra tuning capacitors, which we don't really care about. And then I'm going to go straight down and then straight down on right on top of it. So it's made it up, straight down again, and straight down, and then come in with the nose. Come right into the bottom. I'm looking right at the bottom edge of that and bend it out at 90 degrees. And then when we put this on the board, hold on, don't go away. When we put this on the board, I'm sorry, I did S backwards. Okay. We go to the, see, that's why we didn't cut it off. We go down the other side. We go to the front of it. Go down to the front of it. I should have spotted that right away. Okay. We double them up on the front, and then we come up again, even with the front. I forgot these are backside of the board mounted.
What went into the speed slot? Was a speed slot? I'm trying to remember.
This 50K potentiometer.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Remember, there's two of them in the pack. There's a 50K and a 10K. 50K goes for speed. The 10K goes on the transmit board for volume.
Okay.
Okay. So now when this capacitor fits on the, this is the one I just remod. So when it fits on, see how those things go right onto the pads? Right here, 1, 2, 3. They line right up. So we put those on. And we got to get the hardware pack out now. Little teeny metric screws. There we go, 1 metric screw. Two metric screws. I feel like the countdown.
We have
Two metric screws. I love to count metric screws.
we have 10 minutes left.
Oh, 10 minutes left. Oh, we're
Yeah.
just gonna make it. We're just gonna make it. You won't be able to do any checkout. When I get home, I could probably go down the basement and do a YouTube broadcast live for anybody who wants to continue on with this tonight.
Yeah, they have their little Kumo space thing too, where you can do.
Okay, so I just redid those to the front. Put that on there. Take 2 little screws. Geez, I gotta move fast. How much time we got left?
9 minutes.
9 minutes. Okay, I can do it. Do
we still have to wind the toroid? No.
Yeah, we gotta wind the toroid. Yeah. Okay, tighten up those screws. That's just a little plastic, so don't go crazy. Okay. And so these should line up with the pads underneath.
Did they cut us off last time?
No, we ran for like 4 hours.
Yeah, okay. Well,
okay. So now get my nice hot iron and some fresh solder and okay, you probably can't see what I'm doing, but
so you're soldering those 2 leads together and soldering it to the pad.
To the pad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2 leads together and to the pad. This board's kind of tippy. Now they have a tendency to not want to sit down on the pad because if you don't do them exactly.
What are you missing?
I'm missing my flat bladed screwdriver.
Oh.
So what you can do is you can give it a little bit of, there's no fear. You can take a drink. I'm going to do this because I want to be able to muckle onto that thing a little bit more. You know the verb to muckle? Okay. So in this case, I want to use my flat bladed screwdriver. I got this one that is up in the air, so I'm going to push it down as I do all that. I'm going to push it down with the screwdriver. And I think that's good. This next one is, I can't quite tell if it's connecting underneath or not, but I'm just going to push it down a little bit. And yeah, see, now I know that's a good connection. That middle one I know is way too high. Not even soldered. Yeah, this iron, I'm beginning to wonder. This iron really doesn't, I'm going to have to crank it up some more heat. And it's partly due to the tip I'm using, too. I'm using that very small conical tip. And so, there's not a lot of contact area, and it's probably just not delivering enough heat for a very large pad.
I have to go back and scrub through the video and see if we catch you like hitting the button to turn the temperature down or something.
Yeah, I got it set at 409 degrees C now, so I'm starting to crank up the temperature a little bit. More heat, more heat. See, it flows great when I'm flowing it just on the pad, but when I have to go to the pad itself, it just instant cool. It looks pretty crappy to me.
Well, somebody asked earlier if you could show bad soldering job versus a good soldering job.
Well, there's a partial right there. Okay.
Get any further in.
I mean, I'm looking at the quality of this one right here. I don't particularly. I mean, see how it's really bumpy and not really smooth. This one looks pretty smooth, but I think that was marginal based on the capacity of that iron and that tip. I probably should have changed the tip to a broader, bigger chisel tip. Okay, so now we also have these adapter things here. A little. I'm going to have some written instructions here up just as soon as I.
Just the plastic spacer with the screw and going through that.
Yeah, we're putting a.
So that you have something to attach the knob to.
Right. Those. I mean, you can't get a knob for these Chinese thingamajiggies. So that doesn't want to. Oh, that's why, because that's not.
Not the right screw.
That's not the miniature screw. You gotta make sure you don't put a full 40 in there, because that's not a full 40. That's a metric 3.5. Okay, that's better. Okay. So by putting those on there, these are 1/4-inch shafts. You can't get them. You can't get knobs for these stupid polyvaricons, because usually in the transistor radios they make their own.
So a couple of people are checking out, saying thank you, because we are creeping up on 3 o'clock. I guess we'll keep going.
So we're gonna keep going. We'll keep going until we.
Strangely, all of their messages show as being at 7 p.m., which is really kind of weird, but John says he thinks he's missing the 50K speed pot. He has the 10K one.
Jeez.
Well, those would be in that separate bag, because they went in after the fact.
They went in after the fact.
Well, just send an email and Get squared away.
No, it wants to turn. Ooh,
Just not going on right.
it
There you go.
there's a little shoulder. If you don't catch it, let's see. I think this one's the same way. I don't think it.
So Linda says, "Can I contact you for additional assistance if I find I've made an error
Sure,
or am unclear?"
sure. I'll probably, you know, like I did last year, late Sunday night, I'll go on and I'll do a YouTube live broadcast, and I'll take questions and answers from anybody who's building this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing sort of has to snap on. We're not giving up yet. Okay,
My camera gave up on me there. That did it again.
that tune's fine. Okay, so all we got to do now is we got to build this key. We got to wind a tori.
Yeah.
So the key right here. So the key uses that number 6 that we got a short little 1/4 incher that goes down here at the bottom of the board. We'll put that on. That's a Phillips. Yeah, I gotta put a. Oops, I gotta hold it, I guess.
So yeah, we'll keep going for a little bit and record this so that at least the recording after the fact will have everything too.
That's right.
So
Okay.
we'll make sure we go through.
Yeah, we're gonna get this thing.
Yeah.
So here's our long 440 3/8 bolts. We put it to the top. We put 1, 2, 3. Let's try 3 spacers plus this little brass one, which is a very thin spacer. So that basically gives us 3.5 washers worth. We put it on the top. If we hold it down and look at it, not too bad. So we'll put it on the other side and see what we get. Come on, magnetic thing.
I got that problem before. The camera stand was picking up your components.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna make it a little bit tighter though, I think. Okay. So we've got a straight key,
Oh, down a little bit. Yep,
straight key, speed pot. Let's see, we got a microprocessor, which is the keyer.
Make sure you get it in the right way.
Yep. The little half round edge.
Your finger's in the way.
The little half round edge dimple is on the same with on the top. Button for changing modes between paddles and key. 12-volt power comes in, plus and minus. This comes in from the transmitter, and this goes out to your antenna. Now the antenna, we'll get into that. And then there's 2 connections right there that goes over to the transceiver. Okay. Now this would ordinarily go in some sort of a box. And what I didn't do is I didn't drill any corner holes on this thing. So one has to figure out how to mount that, and I would mount it in a wooden box, like
Oh,
my toolboxes.
That's why you didn't drill holes, so they can
This-
find the appropriate places they need holes.
Well, true. I mean, if you made an opening that was along the bottom edge of this and then came in a little bit, you could have one hole here,
Yeah.
one hole here, and maybe one hole there. Nope, there's pieces there. So maybe here. I think I'll come up with some sort of a little drilling. Oh, we've got a toroid to mount in here. So we're gonna finish this baby. Come on. So this says 16 turns and 4 turns.
And it has that right there. Right in there.
Now, when I've sharply bent this to form the closure, I like to get rid of it because I don't want to have to unbend it and then possibly have it kinked and break on me when I'm making a toroid. So I got to go through this toroid 16 times. 1, 2. Now this is big enough to wind. What I do is I put my fingernail right on the turn I just made. And when I pull that thing in, I use my fingernail to guide it right next to it, and I move my fingernail up to that one. And I'm using my thumb and my fingernail to guide this next turn in and pulling it tight. So I've got 1, 2, 3 turns. There's another one. And guide it right down with then I gather it in so that put my fingernail over it. And I'm trying to make all these turns so they don't go on top of each other. They got a side by side, gathered in. I think that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 turns. 6 turns. 7 turns. 8 turns. 9 turns. 10. We got 4 more. 16. 10.
Yeah.
11. Didn't pull. 12. 13. So I'm going to give up on 13. I'm going to turn it over. And I'm going to add 3 more on this side. $14. 15. And come on. Whoops. I've crossed over to the other wire. Okay, so there's 16 turns. They're relatively tight. They're all adjacent to each other. Okay. So what I do is I measure that length of wire roughly in my eye, and I'll take and make a cut, and I'll have the other one about the same length. Okay, so there's 16 turns. Now I know this is going to go down here. It's going to mount like so. So I know that it's going to be maybe up here. So I'm going to, right now, take my little utility knife and I'm going to scrape off the magnet wire, or the coating on the magnet wire, the enamel. And I want to make sure that when if I happen to travel this way and I go like that at an angle, you could actually dig into the wire and the copper and actually put a slice in it, which would make it very fragile and might want to break. So you try to either be behind, leading behind where the movement is, or straight vertical with a very, very light scraping action. And I'm just trying to take some of that off so I can see copper. Now this is supposedly a thermalese. I just don't trust it. I'm sorry, I'm old school. Some people trust thermalese to melt off and make a nice connection. I like to know that most of it is gone by the time I hit it with some heat. So there's one wire. So now I know that that's about where the board's going to be when I solder it in.
So at 13 turns, John, you just switched to the other side because you didn't pull out enough wire.
Right.
So
that just prevents you having to use all 40 inches when you start turning. I pulled out a bunch. I thought I was going to make it, and I was 3 turns short. So I just
wound it on the other side.
Wound it on the other side.
Yeah.
Trying to pull a reasonable amount of wire. If you looked it up in the data books, you'd see exactly how much you needed. So I could have pulled out that amount. I'll write that down at some point in time. I'll flesh out the documentation.
Well, it all depends how tight you pull it and how,
Yeah, well, that's the point. And I always add much extra wire for people who you can almost wind this thing twice with the amount of wire I gave you, but not quite. Okay, so there's my 16 turns. I've got the wire scraped off. Now what you do is you just sort of spread them out and evenly cover. Typically you like to use about 270 degrees of the toroid. So I'm going to try to evenly space out the windings. Okay. We're all right, aren't we? We went like 5 hours one time there. First time we had lots of problems.
First time we had a lot of problems.
Okay. So now I got them nice and evenly moved away. Now you need 4 turns on the other side, according to the thing, 4 turns, and you want to be roughly in the middle. So I'm gonna pick a winding in the middle, and I'm gonna go 2 turns to one side. Okay. And I'm gonna go right down between the coils. And I'm going to wind it right between them. I'm not going to cross over any. I'm going to wind them right straight between the windings. And I'm going to use my fingernail to guide it between the other 2. 1, 2. I'm going to maybe move those out of the way a little bit. Okay. 3. And guess what? I didn't put enough in there. So I'm going to back it out. Let's see how much I put in there when I started. I got 3 turns instead of the 4.
Oh, well, you were
okay.
going to do 2 and then 2 from the other side.
Right.
But,
Well, yeah. I mean, if I'd done that, and that's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to that middle place, and I'm going to basically now wind 2 turns. Now I backed a lot of wire in there so I can get rid of this. I can get by this stuff where I've already got all the crimples and stuff on it. Okay, so I can go in there. And again, I'm trying to get in between the
So you're trying to get all 4 windings in between 2 of the other windings.
Right.
Yep.
No. I'm actually.
You're interleaving it.
I'm interleaving it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I've got right there. I'm going right by the original set of windings.
And you're sort of following the original set of windings along.
Right.
Yep. Okay.
I'm going to get rid of some of this. I know I don't need that much. Okay. So I spread them out a little bit. Okay. So I can see what I'm doing. And I pick about the opposite place. Okay. So here's the opposite place right about there. I'll split my wire. And I'll lay it right in between. There's one turn. One turn. Again, I'm going between the next two turns.
Nope, you were going to switch sides, weren't you?
Okay, all right, I can do that. I can come back here.
I didn't want you to run out again.
And there's my third turn. And I'm between those two guys. And here's my fourth turn. And I'm between the next. There. Okay. So there's 4 turns. And the ones that I've already wound up there. But they're gonna now I can collapse them a little bit if I have to. Okay. So what I'm going to do with these guys, though, is I'm going to, yeah, okay. I can wind them on the outside. Okay, yeah, there we go. So there's the 4 turns. I'll cut that off. Okay, so I can do the same thing now. I can take a little bit of that enamel off. Sandpaper works and emery board works. You just don't want to be too aggressive. It's a light coating, and you just I'm trying to envision where this is going to be. Here's the board coming across here, so I'm thinking where the solder points are going to be. And this is the same thing. We got surface mounted solder points. We don't have a board hole in the board we're going down through, so we're going to sort of make an L out of it. I'm probably not doing as good a job as, I'm not a toroid man. I'm actually a computer guy. Me and computers.
Is there a phase relationship for the toroid windings?
Not in this particular case, no, as long as you've got them interleaved. Because you want the coupling is what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to take the 50 ohm output of the transceiver, go into the 4 turns, and then boost it up to the 300, 600, or whatever your wire is going to be. So it's just basically a big transformer. If it was in an oscillator circuit or something like that, then that's when you're really worrying about, about phase, and they got bipolar windings and tripolar windings. Those they get quite complicated because you want to make sure the signal is in phase with the other part. This really isn't a phase related circuit at all. This is just an impedance changing circuit. So you're using an RF transformer to change the impedance level of the windings. Okay, so there they are. Here's the 2 that from the 4 coupled. So I'm going to, in essence, bend them into, so I can lay them down in there, and I can find those places I scraped off, And there's not a whole heck of a lot of space there to work with. So I guess which is what I'm doing is I'm dry fitting this thing as I go along.
Do the windings follow the same direction? You start the winding from the same side of the toroid.
Well, they're on opposite sides, so
But I mean, do you wind the same? Like
they're concentrically laid inside each other.
Yeah. So
Okay.
They should not cross each other.
Right. That's what you're not going.
You should not cross each other.
You're trying to not cross over the other windings. So you're trying to put them.
Yes, they should be wound in the same direction.
Yes. Okay, I'll buy that.
Yep.
Now we can try seeing how the
they don't have to start. I mean, they can start anywhere. Well, they should start opposite, but
right.
I guess that means it starts on the same side. But yeah, they should go in the same direction.
Now I'm attempting to tin these leads right here by getting a nice pool of theoretically 750, 800 degree solder on that coating, on the thermalase coating, and see if I can finally get it to look like it's tinned. See, I don't really. Well, no, see, I'm actually using the iron a little bit as a scraper, a hot scraper, but yeah, that looks to me like it's tinned. Okay, I can believe that. So now I can theoretically, this is the 20. No, this is the 4 turns. I got to go on the other side here. This is the 4 turns. I don't want to solder it in until I got the other side going pretty good too. So this one here is going to go around like that, and then I'm going to guess I got it scraped in the wrong spot. So I gotta do the same thing. This one's going to come like that and come out like this. Again, I'm putting it in here and looking at how it look. Okay, yeah, it looks okay. So now I gotta do these guys right here. Yeah, that works for me. This one doesn't look like it's doing much of a job, but I think what I'll do is I'll help it along a little bit. I've wandered off my build area on this.
No, you were good.
That was okay?
Yep.
All right.
You have been drifting to the top once in a while, but I'll catch you if you go too far.
Okay, I can feel it bust through there now. Okay, I think we're ready. So I'm gonna, yeah, it's a little bit. I'm gonna. All right, so this is the 4-turn side. And I'm going to go in here and give me some nice piles of solder on the 4 pads. So here's the 4-turn side. I'll lay that right in that pool. Reflow it. Good. Now I'll use my flat bladed screwdriver to go on the back side where the 20 on the 16 turn. I'll pull that wire in so it's on the pad. Reflow that. Turn around. Do the same thing. I'll get the fresh solder, clean iron, a little bit dab of solder. I think maybe I might, at a later date, I might change the tip to a broader tip, a bigger chisel, and reheat these. But they look like they're connected now right now. Yeah, I can't really hold this one down with my really small conical tip. Okay, so there's our impedance matching transformer. We have a straight key, keyer chip, auxiliary paddle, speed control, power in, load and tune, antenna tuner, straight key and side tone going over the transceiver. So this thing is ready to test out. And I think I'll have to sign off here, and we'll figure out a way to test it out. We'll put another video up on the website about testing it out. Now that we got it, we can very quickly apply power. Let's very quickly. We'll keep going.
Okay.
Huh?
You're going to cut off? Yeah. I always hate doing that.
I know, but guess what? They're a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
I always carry some in my toolbox, and they always get cut up somewhere, and I have to go buy another batch of them. They're cheap at Harbor Freight, but I don't buy them at Harbor Freight. So here's power.
Do you need the aux jack for speakers?
Yeah, we're gonna do something.
We're gonna do that. But
We got two. Whoops, we got two more. I think I brought 4.
oh, John said he found his 50K speed pop.
Hey, all right, we didn't goof up. We didn't goof. It wasn't our fault. All right.
Packaging problem.
Well, that didn't.
Tomorrow is a different kit that we're building. So somebody asked if we're repeating the same build-a-thon.
Nope.
Nope, it's a different kit.
But stay tuned. You're on the list. So as soon as I get ready, I got to get out from underneath this this next build tomorrow. But if I feel comfortable, tomorrow night I might set up a time and actually try to do a Q&A and maybe a little advanced. I need that. I need that over there.
The battery.
Yeah. I don't have. Well, wait a minute. I can do this.
No, it's fine if it was.
I can get it out of the way. Hopefully. I don't see any spin out. No coming out. So the easiest way to know if this thing is working is with the side tone. Unfortunately, we have 2 more connections, so I really can't do it. Oh yeah, I can. Instead of cutting these and going to the connector, I'm gonna buckle on to the output capacitor, and that should be the signal for this guy. And the signal would be tip, maybe. And then I need ground on the back. And we're gonna double up on I didn't want to do anything. So I don't know which one is tip, ring, and I always tip, ring, and ground is all
That's
what I
too.
always thought.
Yeah.
So if we go ground is the back.
Well, we can wait and get a proper
Yeah,
connector.
yeah, I got to get a proper connector for that. Yeah. But what you can do is, because ST is sidetone, and if you're on sidetone, you should be able to put that right directly into a pair of headphones. And I forgot to bring my headphones with me, but I will rig this up. I'll do a test out, and I'll try to post up another video on my website. But that's the build that we're building. So now this typically would couple to a transceiver. In the case of buildathon transceivers that are relatively simple, you don't have side tone. So we now have a side tone. You don't have an antenna. You don't have an antenna tuner. We got those. You don't have a key or a keyer. We got those. So tomorrow we're going to build a transceiver. This will plug into that, and all you need is a pair of headphones and a 12-volt battery, and we got this thing on the roll. So this might be tune in tomorrow, because we're going to couple this up to the rig that we build tomorrow. Excellent. Now that will be faster because it will be a total through hole kit, and we can build that up pretty quick. We'll do the same thing. Okay. So we're going to sign off for now.
Yep.
And I'll try to put some auxiliary type videos up on my website and after the buildathon, wrap up type stuff.
Yep.
And you won't see it from me because I'm pretty damn exhausted. I've been at it for almost 2 weeks solid, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But I'll probably be unwinding with a nice big tall glass of Diet Mountain Dew on Sunday night. I think last year I put up a live broadcast around 11 o'clock at night, and I ended up grabbing about 18 people. And we talked for about an hour and a half or so. Completely impromptu. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hopefully you got something out of this build-a-thon. I certainly did. I had fun. Always fun building a kit. Now, mind you, this is the first time I built this kit, because we just designed it, and this is the first one I built.
Okay, we'll see you all.
We'll see you all on the flip side of the board. Bye.